If you're not already subscribed to this YouTube channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button now, along with the bell icon so you can be notified whenever a new video is posted. And if you're already subscribed, check and make sure that YouTube hasn't unsubscribed you. And of course, be sure to give the video a like as well as share it on your social media. The white supremacists hate that. And now, the Sunday address. Dr. Claude Anderson called it inappropriate behavior, and that's putting it mildly. In the weeks since Charlie Kirk got murked, I've seen something very disturbing. Black people, and I'm talking specifically to black men here, wearing the clothing of this or that sports team and still running around with their merchandise on their cars, on their person, around their home. Yeah, football season is underway, so that means it's game time, right? Except anti-black racism is the game that the dominant society plays, and if you decide to go along with it, you'll always lose. At this point, there shouldn't be any black sports fans anywhere in the United States. Weeks after several sports franchises engaged in the perverted public spectacle of honoring Charlie Kirk, a man who was a dishonorable racist, why is it that I'm seeing the same numbers of black men who are running around sporting their favorite team's jerseys, talking about their favorite fantasy football pick, and of course you'll be in the checkout line with some idiot on his cell phone listening to Stephen A. Smith braying like the mule he is? I mean, seriously, what is it that these racist sports leagues and their anti-black team owners would have to do to black people to get us to finally decide that we're going to cut the cord with these creeps? It makes sense that the $40 million slaves are still playing and not saying a word, because the only time they showed something resembling a spine was when there were black people in the streets uprising. Pro athletes are followers. They always have been. They're not leaders. That's why they wind up in so many stupid situations. Their bodies are their portfolios, not their brains. They're pro athletes, which means that they've been conditioned to slavishly follow a white man's orders since they were children, and a disproportionate number of them raised by single mothers who themselves depend on white power for their financial wherewithal. They've taken up the mentality that to obey white power is a good thing. You're getting something out of it. And by the time they get to the NFL, you got a big, muscular servant with a contract. So obviously these guys are not going to be breaking that one. We can be disgusted with the $40 million slaves, but none of us can be surprised. These guys have their excuse for why it is that they're still at the stadiums and the arenas come game day. But what I want to know is for the black men who don't have a contract and who would like to believe that they're smarter than the $40 million slaves, what the hell's your excuse for still engaging in sports anything? After what they did with Charlie Kirk, that should have been the last straw. And I know I got more than a few sports fans here. When you have these billion-dollar sports leagues who are going out of their way to honor someone who they know has been nothing but an anti-black racist, someone who was only known for lying about black people, demonizing black people, slandering black people, and making excuses for, if not outright praising the murders of black people, when these sports leagues do that, they decide that they're going to praise this man, and you still watch their sports programs anyway, you still attend their games, you still buy their merchandise, you still support them by talking about them and keeping them relevant, then the pro athletes aren't the problem anymore. You are. I'm speaking specifically to black men in this case, because I couldn't help but notice over the decades that that seems to be an issue. Sports entertainment, making sure you got your favorite team, that seems to occupy a special place in the minds of black men in particular. Dr. Claude Anderson said it 40 plus years ago and it's still true today. Every time you see a black person, they're having an illicit relationship with a ball. They're either throwing a ball, catching a ball, hitting a ball, or having a ball. And that also goes for the so-called fans. You still give your money to these sports leagues after they tell you that Charlie Kirk is their MVP. A lot of you simply cannot understand why it is that I attack sports so much, why I can't stand it, why I don't watch it, and why I go out of my way to make it uncomfortable for you when I talk about it. And of course, you look at the comment sections and you see people whining and complaining, Professor Truth, how come you gotta be saying that? People who don't feel compelled to comment on any other issue, but as soon as I talk about sports, all of a sudden their Twitter fingers go nuts. Do you get it now? Probably not. I've said for 17 years that it matters who you get your news and views from. It matters who you watch and who you give your money to, because when you give people your attention and your resources, you are literally giving them power. And you black sports fans are empowering racists. At this point, it's unforgivable now. Your energy, especially the energy of black fans and customers, that's what gives these sports leagues life. We have the pulse, not them. And by refusing to cut them off, you're keeping them alive, and worse, you're making them stronger. That's not on the $40 million slaves. That's on you, black sports fan. After that Charlie Kirk abomination took place, there should have been an immediate flat line in black viewership, black attendance, and black merchandise sales to all sports leagues. Had black people shown the self-respect to do that, that's what would have happened. It would have been like a bomb going off, especially in black cities like Philadelphia, Detroit, Memphis, Baltimore, New Orleans. How the hell are you going to have end racism on your football helmets, but your sports team does a presentation honoring one of the chief racists in America? Why are the black athletes not saying anything? Because the black fans aren't. We're not supposed to be looking to black celebrities to take the lead on things anyway. I'm not saying that black people should have been in the streets on this one necessarily, but what is necessary is black people getting out of the arenas, out of the stadiums, out of whatever all-access memberships you got. Cancel your season tickets, demand a refund. That's what should have happened. It's been a month now since these sports leagues put on their putrid displays, and the response from black sports fans has been equally sickening, because their response has been to keep on giving them their money and keep on cheering and keep on attending the games as if nothing had happened. Any other group who this happened to, they would be on a warpath and determined to bring these franchise owners to their knees. They would be burning people's jerseys. People would be demanding returns on their season tickets. There would be protests at their games. Prominent members of their communities would be demanding boycotts. Nobody else makes excuses for being disrespected. Nobody else decides that they're going to try to pretend as if there's a good reason to keep giving people who hate them their money. No matter how much you like something, if the people behind it insult you, you're a damn fool if you give them one more minute of your time, much less one more penny of your money. There is no product, no form of entertainment, no anything so special that you're going to die if you have to make do without it. But if you empower these anti-black racists and you continue to make them rich, you can die from that. You want to know why the enemy doesn't take black discontent seriously? Because, to use a well-known sports expression, we've been consistently inconsistent. We've made it where our enemies have the luxury of rolling the dice and waiting to see how we'll react to the latest attack against us, or if we'll ignore it completely. Because all too often, that's exactly what we've done. They say you teach people how to treat you. Well, what do you teach people when you keep spending money with them after they show you to your face that they hate you? I'm sure that a lot of you sports fans here had something to say when that Asian hair salon owner punched a black grandmother in the face, and then all he had to do to defuse the outrage was to give a discount on hair weaves, and out came the hood rats. The same hood rats who will say that black women aren't being protected, but they didn't care about a black grandmother being assaulted. We can all agree on that hypocrisy and call it out. Now, can you also understand that when sports teams honor mouth-frothing racists like Charlie Kirk, they're doing something even more egregious? This is their response to the BLM protests, by the way. All of those white team owners and the Asian ones like Shahid Khan, they were absolutely seething and grinding their gnarled teeth when you had black men who were putting the arm on them. Far as they were concerned, they were being humiliated. Well, this is their chance to give the middle finger to those exact same black athletes and black public who brought them to their knees literally. The question now is, what is your response going to be to this? For too many black folks, the response has been, I'm going to renew my season tickets. What does it say that you're so addicted to entertainment that the people who make the stuff you watch and tell you to your face that they can't stand you, that they wish you were dead, and they will use their money to give honor to a reprobate piece of trash who spent his entire worthless life cheerleading for black people to be killed, and after all that, you not only don't say anything about it, you keep on giving them your money, your energy, and your support? What does that say about you? I don't play video games. I'm a tad too old for that now, but I do watch some of you guys' videos, and I also read your comments, and I know that there's a lot of you who do play video games, and I also know that these online video game forums and networks are sewers of white racists. So that means you can see these white supremacist scumbags while they're still in grade school, and it's the best proof that white racism is taught in the homes. And these white parents are lying when they claim, oh, I don't know where little Jimmy learned the N-word from and to be so racist. He learned it in the home. The kid was saying it since he was in Pampers. Now, I know that that's not a perfect comparison. Obviously, none of these big video game manufacturers are going to be cracking down on that kind of behavior. But it says a lot, though, when you got some folks who apparently just can't do without their Call of Duty fix that they will wade into a cesspool of anti-black racism for it. When are black fans gonna get it? Be they sports fans, movie fans, people who are into so-called geek culture, etc. The people who make the stuff you enjoy so much in many cases absolutely hate you, and in the case of professional sports, they have no problem telling you to your face. The sports page has long been an absolute toilet bowl of anti-black vitriol. That's the place you go to so you can go ahead and hear all of these anti-black talking points being spoken as if, oh, we're just saying it about so-and-so player over here, or so-and-so sports team, or so-and-so sports city. Yeah, except every negative thing they say is about black people. I don't have a problem with you liking sports, comic books, TV shows, etc. I don't have to like something in order to understand why you do. My problem is that it seems that there's no act so egregious by these very same entertainment entities, be they in sports, be they in movies or whatever, that would be enough for black people to say, you know what, we're done. That's the problem that I have. And then you wonder how is it that they've got the ability to put on these big displays of phony honor for the likes of Charlie Kirk. Well, they paid for it with your money. It doesn't matter who your team is or what sport they play. These are all rich white or at the very least non-black people who don't see their so-called rival teams as the enemy. They see black people as the enemy, and they take sick glee in knowing that their real enemies are so silly as to literally pay them to disrespect and attack us. It doesn't matter who your favorite player is either. They don't own that sports franchise, much less the sports league. And even if they did, most of those $40 million slaves dream every night of being accepted by the very racists you and I are trying to fight. It's not a game, family. These racists are not on the Cowboys team or the New York Yankees team. They're all on team white supremacy. And no, I don't want to hear anybody telling me, well, ain't nothing we can do about it with black folks, that's just how they is. That's what we always hear whenever you got folks who don't want to have to change. That's the principal argument that they try to offer, because what they're really saying is that they themselves engage in this behavior, inappropriate behavior, and they don't want to hear about it because it makes them uncomfortable. They've spent their entire lives immersing themselves in these sports teams or these types of white media subcultures to the point that they literally cannot imagine themselves without it. It's become part of their identity. What that means is there's always an option for self-hate to be part of your identity. Black fans have shown these white supremacists that they have the ability to spit in black people's faces, and that these same black folks will come back the very next day. Hell, in most cases, they'll come back before the next commercial break, money in hand, as if nothing had happened. Well, I'm here to tell you that is not okay. It's time for black people to start disciplining their dollars. And what that means is we do not empower people who make it their livelihood to disempower us. There is nothing so special going on in the NFL or the NBA or in this or that TV program that you're going to die without it. Individuals who are so lacking in survival instinct and self-respect that they will gladly give money to people who have told them that they hate them, these are not just individuals who are not going to have power, they are also individuals who are not going to be alive either. And don't go expecting any of your favorite sports teams to honor you after that either. Good evening, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors. Abram Pruitt, Jacques Hargett, Angela Tatum, Angela Cunningham, and Jonathan Maynor. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.